Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Last night, basically, I went to go put my kids to sleep. I went back to lay down on the couch and maybe watch something good on television. Next thing you know, I was in Napsville. Basically, I fell asleep at like 8 o'clock at night. I woke up and it was 10, and my world had been spun around. Basically, I opened up Twitter, I saw that Alberto Del Rio was trending, and I honestly clicked on the little thing to bring up the tweets about Del Rio, thinking that basically word had broken out that basically I would believe that WWE and Del Rio were coming to terms to bring him back for his third stint. Little did I know, wow! Alberto Del Rio debuted on the TNA Impact tapings. Not only did he debut, he won the championship from Bobby Lashley. That is the word that is out there on the street. I read the Impact review from last night. I did not watch the show, but last night was the Josh Barnett versus Bobby Lashley match. And if you can remember, all the news that came out of the last tapings where they said that Josh Barnett had won the championship. He was holding the title over his head. They were having sort of a championship ceremony. But, in the report itself, it said that there was a spot in the match where the match could have ended. And basically, that's what they did last night on the Impact tapings. Unless they did Barnett versus Lashley twice, and I didn't know about it. Maybe the championship change is coming next, but it seemed like Barnett had won the championship in his debut match for the company, and that's the direction that they were going. But there was also lots of news at the time that Josh Barnett was not cleared to be out of UFC yet. I can't remember if he is suspended, which would mean he's still under contract, which means you can't do outside things, and maybe UFC said they didn't want him doing this or something like that. But with Del Rio, when you read the full results, yes, he was holding the belt up, but it seems like the belt is sort of in topsy-turvy. I bet people saw the headlines or basically just looked at the picture and think that Del Rio is the champion. It looks like what they're doing is setting up Slammiversary, which would be a Lashley versus Alberto Del Rio match. You've also got EC3, who was trying to get into the match, but Lashley had said he had already beat him. So I don't know if maybe they're setting up some sort of a three-way, where basically maybe it's, Lashley doesn't want to lose and Del Rio doesn't want to lose, so maybe they're putting EC3 into the match so he can lose. People are making power plays. Thoughts about what I read about the Impact thing. I honestly really like something to wrestle with. I tweet about it a lot. I honestly like the length of the podcast. When I first heard about it and I wanted to go check it out, I think one of the first shows I listened to was the Survivor Series 1990, because of the fact that's one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. And with that, I got hooked. I like the fact that I listen to the podcast in parts. Honestly, I think you have to. With most shows averaging about 3 hours, I don't think you can really do it. So you're able to digest a little piece of what's going on and what they're talking about. If like with me, I listen to it on the way to work. And then if there's something that I think about, it's fresh in my mind, and I can Google it, and I can look more into it. I can go watch a match if it's fresh on my mind, and what they talked about, it was interesting. Him coming in to TNA, if it was a behind-the-scenes role, honestly, it would make a lot more sense. I listened to the Wrestling Observer, and they talked about the fact that, one of the taglines was "Make Impact Great Again." And they had Zeb Golter really come out there and say that. I honestly thought Dave was joking. I thought that might be a backstage theme with, Jeff Jarrett trying to rally up the troops and say, we've done this once before, let's get this done. There's no more Dixie Carter. But they really got Zeb pushing that little grocery cart out there, really saying it out loud. And I really can't believe it. I can't really tell what Bruce Pritchard's role is. He came out, he said that Impact was, or the name TNA was dead. It sort of seemed like he set up the match. I can't tell if he's like the manager of Lashley. I can't tell if he's the manager of Del Rio. I don't know if maybe he's setting up some sort of an outside stable. They're going to be promoting the Something to Wrestle podcast. That's one of the reasons why he came back. They want to try and get all of the people that listen to the show, which is one of the most popular wrestling podcasts out there on the internet. They can't get Jericho. They can't get Austin. I guess they think this is probably their best bet. There's no way in hell that Jim Cornette is going to be coming back. I tried listening to the Jim Cornette podcast. I think that Jim Cornette's a bright mind. I think that he's really crazy at sometimes, but it just wasn't for me. Honestly, at the beginning of each show, he sort of talks about politics and what's going on in the world. I honestly liked that stuff. But once he got into wrestling, I thought that he just was too far removed from what was going on. And even though there's no Dixie Carter and no Vince Russo, the chances of Jim Cornette going back to TNA, I think, are really, really slim to none. But, the rabbits that Jeff Jarrett is pulling out of the hats to try and build this back up, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince Russo is back in the company yet again. Zeb Coulter is a really good mind with wrestling. I like the fact that he is there. The fact that they lost so many names last week, but were able to bring in Del Rio. Honestly, to me, I guess it's a good thing if you're trying to get people just to change the channel and give yourself a chance. But to me, with Del Rio, at this point in his career, I don't think this is the best signing of all time. Del Rio, to me, is a guy that could be here today and gone tomorrow. If he has a bad day, if maybe they tell him they want him to lose a match to somebody down the road, I can see him just packing his bags and leaving. I know there's going to be a lot of videos either already made or going to be made on this saying that this is a good thing because Del Rio can bring Paige into the company and she's a really popular women's wrestler. She's still under contract at WWE. If WWE was going to release her, I think they would have released her already with the 2 wellness strikes in a row, just bam, bam. I think that she does have something to give to the WWE if she gets to go back. I believe she's on the Raw brand. Once she's able to recover from her neck injury, I think that WWE's going to want to use her. And I think that if you start using her right, she can start selling those Paige gloves and she can start selling those t-shirts like she was doing before. She was one of the most popular wrestlers on the brand. And I think that she can still be there because I think that she attracts a certain fan base to want to follow her, whether that's from overseas or girls that just want to dye their hair black. So we'll see what goes on with this. I can honestly tell you that they got me wondering what is going on. I can honestly tell you that I'm not committed to going out of my way to watch TNA, but I would probably want to watch an episode in the foreseeable future to see if they really are turning this stuff around. But a guy like Matt Morgan doesn't really make me want to do it.